You're all baffled, thinking, what the hell was this chap putting in his glass for his drink tonight? And it's not a bag of it's not rice, right?
It did look a bit suspicious.
It looked very suspicious.
Yeah.
It's ice, man. I'm not that poor.
Have you got one of
Bag
those?
of rice.
Have you got one of those like pop bags of ice that you just like chuck in the freezer and like?
You mean the bags? You just a bag of ice?
What that you buy in the shop?
You can buy bags of ice, which is just ice cubes, right? Or you can buy those like individual
trays.
like not trays, like they're like plastic things like plastic bubbles filled with water. Have you ever seen those where you just
Oh, they're
ice
awful.
cubes?
No,
They
Simon.
are awful.
They're awful.
terrible for the environment. But
Yeah.
I thought that's what you had.
No, God, no, Jesus, I don't. That doesn't sound like anything that'll come out of Kettering.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
Surprised you got ice, to be honest.
So, Hamish,
A lot of places don't.
You don't sort of seem the guy that would put ice in beer. So why don't you just tell us what you're drinking?
Oh,
instead?
God.
Oh yeah, we're giving us drink spoilers.
Oh, all right, okay, I've sod it. We'll do our drinks now then.
Well, we started talking about the drinks too soon.
We do,
Yeah, maybe don't dive
We've got a lot.
too
We've got a
soon
lot to
there.
get through this episode, so
We
we're
do,
going
we
like
do.
rapid fire
Right,
straight
okay.
into the drinks.
Well, it's this is for coming in a very shit position in the Bash tournament. So I'm drinking my sorrows with a bottle of JD. So
The whole bottle, JD Honey. He's gone big.
I'm going, and I've got my cloudy lemonade, and I've got my rice.
Yeah, your big bag of rice.
Big
What
bag
more
of
does
rice
a,
to
what does what more does a growing boy need?
If
JD and a big bag of rice.
Did you say ice? Nah,
Yeah.
rice.
Rice, mate.
Rice.
Can't afford ice.
Can't afford the ice.
I think you're being a bit too down on your performance there. Maybe we'll talk
We'll
about
touch
again
on
a bit
that
later.
once we get through the drinks. and then-
Strength. So all I can say is the strength schedule system is crap. Anyway, what are you drinking, Simon? Oh, yours looks good. You've got a little goblet going
Yeah.
on.
I am fondly remembering my honeymoon many years ago, and drinking a beer called Big Wave, which is a golden ale brewed by the Kona Brewing Company in Hawaii, and it reminds me of drinking it on a Hawaiian beach on my honeymoon many years ago.
Wow,
lovely.
very fancy.
So why is it
Cheers.
your honeymoon?
It was my honeymoon. We went to Hawaii. It
No,
was great.
I meant when was it? Was it today?
Get out. It was like
That's why I thought you busted it out because it's
Oh, no,
honeymoon,
well-
and you thought, sorry, baby, it's podcast night.
Yeah, he's in Hawaii right now. He's
I'm in
literally on
Hawaii,
his
live
honeymoon.
from Hawaii. No, I just saw it. I saw it in the shops, and I thought that reminds me of honeymoon. So
Honeymoon.
I'm going to drink it.
What did your wife say?
She
Did
actually went and found
remember?
it. She went and found it for me.
That's very kind.
Oh,
of
that's
her.
nice.
That's very
We
sweet.
went shopping. She's like, "Come and look at this." And I
Come
was
look
like,
at
"Okay."
this, and you're like,
And then I thought to myself, that'd be perfect for the podcast.
yay! Right. So wildcard 2 drink.
So,
Big sip trip.
Come on.
I just finished one of my 2 drinks. I'm only on one drink.
Orlando Glug. What have you
So
got?
Simon is remembering his honeymoon, but I'm drinking Blue Moon.
Oh my
Which
god!
is
Jesus, we don't write
I've
this.
even got a glass with a slice
With an
of orange
orange.
in it.
Oh my god!
I've had
doing it
some.
properly.
I've had some very big nights on Blue Moon. And,
It's very drinkable.
It's very drinkable, but it's also
I
very
bloody
strong,
hope
and it
so.
gives you terrible
Yeah.
hangovers. Just to let you know,
What sort?
Yeah,
What is
well,
it?
I'm not having a lot of them.
it's a Belgian Weiss beer.
And with orange.
Yeah, you have it with orange.
Yeah, you serve it with a slice of orange. It's very, very tasty, and the orange really is quite good. It's like
It's very drinkable.
What was
Is
that
it
drink you were
lager?
drinking the other day with? It's a wheat beer.
A wheat.
A Weiss
beer.
beer. Yeah, it's Have you ever had Hogarden or anything like that? It's
I might have, but I
it's
might
a bit
have
fruitier than that. It's a bit shady.
Yeah, it's a little. It's very shady and a little sweet, but that might just be
Yeah.
the orange that you have with it. But yeah, you can just knock it back, and it's like 5.5%.
Oh, is it like that? Is it? Is it kind of like when you go to a beer festival, and then they've always got that 9% cider, and you
Yeah,
drink
that you
it,
don't
and it just
really
tastes like apple juice, and then you're like,
Yeah,
oh man,
it's
I'm
great.
on this, and then literally
And then you stand
an hour
up.
later you are smashed,
Yeah,
and it's only
absolutely
1
that.
o'clock.
poured that very
man.
badly.
I feel like we need to. I feel like we need to meet up at
A beer festival.
Yeah, big time.
Push the Point sponsored beer festival would be amazing.
And of course, typically you got to have something called the Crazy Brew, right?
Yeah,
we can.
That's pretty standard.
We can bridge genres of trading card games and beer festivals, and that would be.
This is a missed opportunity.
I think we need to work on this.
You definitely need to sleeve your cards pretty well, though. There's going to be a lot of beer sloshing around.
Yeah.
If this ever becomes like long enough to ever reach to like some sort of episode 100, and we've got like good amount of views and followers, and it's all going well, and life is great. And maybe we should probably try and organise something. And then I'm going to shoot myself in the foot.
We're almost at episode 10. I know we talk about the episode number, but we're very close to our 10 episode anniversary, which is pretty crazy. I can't even remember when we started this. It feels like this has been my entire life.
We hit 45 subscribers today as well. We're not far off our 150 mark.
Which is great. Thanks to everyone that subscribed.
Many celebrations.
169. Then we can throw out that Crazy Brew.
If you keep subscribing, you're just getting closer and closer to the Push the Point Beer Festival tournament.
Yeah.
So, that's something to look forward to.
Wow.
So
let's do episode 9.
Should we talk a bit about you both of you went to a tournament, and as Hamish was alluding to, I don't know if you both want to talk about your tournament experience now, just quickly.
I'm just going to quickly get in there.
Do it real quick.
I'm just going to quickly get in there and just say, after we've finished having a chat and a quick wrap up, we're going to have a bit of an interview with a guy called John from Black Label Grading, who was awesome to speak to. And then talking of the event we've just been to, we've got a couple of friends of the podcast to come and have a chat with us and give us their impressions.
Yeah, we're gonna have a right riot on the podcast, and we're doing this all on the fly, so it should be pretty entertaining for you all to listen to when we get these guys on. But
and
it's gonna be fun to edit for sure.
Yeah.
We may finish with what could become a long-standing feature of the podcast, Hot or Not. So
yes, it's coming back, everyone.
What's hot and who's not?
We had so many comments from people saying it was their favourite part of the. No, I don't think we had any comments, but it was my favourite. It was my favourite part of the podcast. So
it was
bringing
better
it back.
than I remembered, actually.
So we're going to have town hall. What's hot? What's not? With all of our guests.
Town hall.
Yeah, it's going to be a
meeting.
riot. And as you saw, Hamish is on the whiskey, so it'll probably be pretty good.
By the time we get to the hot one, it's
descend into carnage.
Everything is hot.
It's going to be what's hot and who's
on the floor.
Drunk. Anyway, so I'm going to sum up my my event.
What was the event first before what was the tournament? Where was it before?
It was a Boards and Swords hobbies event in Derby, not Derby. Tripp.
Derby. Yeah.
Derby.
The long standing.
And it was a winner box event. There were.
It was meant to be first ed, right? And then it turned into a
no. To be fair to them, it was always unlimited to winner box, and it was the first edition was raffled off. And there were prizes for the top 8. There were 29 people there. It was an absolutely banging day. The atmosphere
really
in the shop was really good.
It was, and congratulations to Mike Kerslake for winning that box of first edition. It was great when you shook it in my face.
He didn't win it, the raffle, did he?
He did.
The guy wins so much stuff.
He wins so many raffles.
And then all he's going to do is, and he sold it. And basically, Barry's just going to reap half of it because they've got this brilliant deal where whatever like prizes or stuff that they win or whatever stuff they get, they split it in half. And all I can imagine is you probably never even seen the. Does anyone remember the Young Ones?
Yeah.
And there's that bit when Mike gets a tenner. And he goes, every time they split the money, he literally just rips the tenner in half.
Yeah.
And that's how I imagine. Like, I just got this cold full. Well, I've got to split it. There you go. Half for you.
They were the guys that ripped the top off their first edition boxes in the video.
That was right.
We had them on the podcast
savages.
Just teared it open.
Yeah, they said this is, and then they thought this is your half.
Yeah. So Hamish, tell us about how you did at the tournament.
Came 9th,
which is good.
No,
out of 29 people, 9th is good.
That's pretty.
I thought we had 27. I thought. Sorry, I'm just going to say we had 100 people. So okay, so yeah,
17 rounds of sweat.
17 rounds of Swiss later, come ninth. God, I'd just shoot me brain. If you come in, imagine you had 17 rounds of Swiss and you came ninth.
Quit the game.
Yeah, it's so close, man. I was happy with that result. I came in thinking I'm going to suck against Chain and I'll do okay against Bravo, Prism, and Katsu. Turns out I beat 2 Chains and lost to Bravo and Katsu. So what do I know, eh? What do I know? But it was good. It was. I took Bolton. He did all right. No, he did, and I got bubbled out by strength of schedule. So there you go. That was my day. What about you, Simon?
Unfortunately, we had a really uncomfortable 5th round of Swiss match, didn't we? Where it was you v me, and it was winning in for either of us. We were both 3-1, and I took the win on that one, which it was just really uncomfortable. Playing friends is fine.
My favourite bit was watching you punch your head.
I thought I made a mistake, and
I sat there thinking my hand was like great, and you played Scar for a Scar and just went, "Oh God, stupid Simon, done it!" And I was just like, "It's not that bad, mate. Scar for Scars.
It's an all right card.
It's all right. My hand's not that great." And you're like,
I was getting it out of my system, ready for later.
I sat you being super. I saw you be incredibly professional throughout the entire event, and I thought this guy is cool as a cucumber. 5 minutes sitting next to me, he's punching his own face.
Yeah. It's the effect you have on people.
I know. How does my wife cope? I don't know. I just come in, she's like, "God damn it."
So to the surprise of absolutely nobody, I continued my streak with Katsu and took him along. I went 4-1 in the Swiss, came 3rd in the Swiss, and then lost to John Ho on Prism in the final in what was an incredible game. To be fair, it was super tight,
mate. When you doubled Art of War, and then he came in with a Herald of Erudition with Goliath Gauntlets coming in for 7, dominated, and this mad lad plays 2 Art of Wars. Now we're all sitting there going, "What's he looking for? I hope he's looking for a prayer here." And then all of a sudden he blocks with his Surgeon Strike, Strength 7, baby, pops the Erudition. I couldn't believe it. Everyone was like this, like silently going, "Oh!" Our little Discord with 3 of us sitting next to each other. We're just going, "It's lit!" Oh, boo, 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 boo. It was just insane.
Play of the tournament.
That was the play.
Yeah,
that was the
unfortunately,
play.
my next hand was an all-red 2-block hand, and I couldn't keep up the pace. But
he did all that just so his
just
next hand would suck. But it was amazing. It was such a great game, and
it was a great game.
You can find out how Simon lost on the Baz the Bard on YouTube.
Yeah, Baz the Bard on YouTube.
Yeah, he's got that YouTube video up. I watched it with great joy, knowing that punk took me out of the top 8 because I sucked. And yeah, right, Simon, I don't even think you realise how much I reeled over our game and just went, no. I shouldn't have blocked. I just shouldn't have blocked. And I chickened out over a hurricane kick. Couldn't believe it, man.
Well, you blocked, rightly so. You blocked the hurricane kick.
No, not rightly so. That was the wrong move. I already took 13 damage. I should have just took another 8 more, and then I would have came in with 20 damage. That was the problem. Anyway, that's why I'm drinking whiskey, everyone.
But should we move on now to the next part of our podcast? So, yeah, Simon, do you want to introduce this next bit?
So I was very lucky to have some time to speak with John, who is a co-founder of Black Label Grading, and here we go. So hi everybody, it's Simon again from Push the Point podcast, and I'm here today with John from Black Label Grading. Now, before we get into the actual interview, a bit of a disclaimer from me. I have used Black Label Grading. I've had a couple of cards sent off with these guys, and I must say the service has been exceptional. So I may be slightly biased when we go through this interview, but I'd just like to say up front, thank you very much, John. It's been really helpful. Nice to meet you, by the way.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for your kind words, and looking forward to it.
Fantastic. So just for the listeners out there, just tell us a bit about Black Label Grading, about yourselves and what you do.
Of course, yeah, no problem. So Black Label Grading is run by two of us. It's run by me, John, and also my wife, Vicky. We are as far as I'm still aware, we are the only UK based Beckett approved intermediary for their services. And all that means is that collectors from the UK primarily, but also Europe, can send their cards directly to us for us to take care of everything associated with getting your cards graded through Beckett, which includes paperwork, the insurance, the shipping, the comms, and everything in between.
So I'll agree with that. All I had to do was get you the cards that I wanted sent off, and then on the premium, on the express service, the diamond service with you guys, a month later they arrived back with me, and it was fully graded and everything was taken care of. So I must say that the ease of use was fantastic. So tell me about yourself, John. What's your background in cards and collectability? Because obviously you've got a passion for this. I can hear it when we talk about it. Tell me about your background.
Of course, yeah. So I was one of those. I think there's quite a lot of people like me where I'm. I was at the right age when Pokémon really took off. I was born in 1990, so I was 8 years old when it kind of started hitting the UK. I was the youngest in my family, therefore my mum spoiled me rotten. And it was the glory days of being collected from school and being given 10 base set booster packs every time I was collected to open.
Amazing.
There was good times. But so I stuck with it. I've always been into collecting some sort of trading cards. Pokemon, obviously, as I grew up, did take a back seat. Moved on to Yu-Gi-Oh for a portion of my life. Yeah. The thing that stuck when I was a bit older was I was for all of my sins, a World of Warcraft player. Yeah. And I wanted everything that game allowed. So I got into the World of Warcraft trading card game, which, for the people out there that are familiar with the game, you could get cosmetic items if you were lucky through the trading cards. So that was with me for a while. Dropped off, grew up, had a family, had to focus my money and efforts into other areas. But about 3 or 4 years ago, came storming back to the Pokemon world when I dug out my pristine collection of cards that were stuck in a binder. I was an old child, loved to just get them and stick them in a binder and never touch them again. And started getting really invested in the community, and got into the world of grading, and just became a customer of not only PSA but also BGS, obviously. Yeah. And one thing led to another, and here we are. Vicky, we're very open about this. Vicky isn't from the Pokemon card collecting world, nor is she from the other trading card collecting world. However, she provides a very important part of what Black Label Grading needs, which is like all of the websites, all of the processes and updates and comms. That's all spearheaded by Vicky, which is probably what we get the most feedback about from our for our service. But she's been 10 years in the world of marketing, which really helps. But she's now into collecting Dragon Ball Super cards. So she has now jumped straight in. She's a big fan, and we're just keeping her entertained with more and more packs these days.
So a perfect partnership, and you're managing to obviously make this business work. When did you guys start up as Black Label Grading?
So we were planning for a lot, about 3 months before we incorporated the business. We incorporated in the end of October 2020.
Okay.
But we made the decision a few months before that that this is something that we wanted to do. And to be honest, it took those months to negotiate with Beckett.
Yeah.
Because there's a reason why there's never been a Beckett approved. I've got to be delicate with those words, because we are approved and by Beckett. They allow us to do what we do on behalf of all of the customers, but they don't do the whole official Beckett partner deal that PSA do. So just had to be clear with there. But it took us months to get to the point where they would allow us to aggregate a lot of orders and submit the way that they want to. But it started, so incorporated end of October, and then we launched I think beginning of December, and it was a crazy time because I've got them somewhere written down in one of our original notebooks. But it was a case of we were working towards this idea that if we could get 100 cards submitted to us in 6 months' time, that was our 6-month target. Wow. To have 100 cards submitted, then we would be on cloud 9 and everything would be amazing. And it was just really, in the first month, amazingly, we received like over 1,000 cards.
Wow, that's incredible.
And we were just blown away by the support, and it wasn't without a lot of people, quite rightly, in this community having doubts on a new entity, unheard of. Could have been scammers, and quite rightly. However, I think as soon as Vicky and I started putting ourselves out there, I mean, my passion coming through, and all of the stuff that we worked so hard on getting our names out there, and I think it paid off. And people like yourself and all of our other customers from day one were kind enough to back us and talk to people about it, and so amazingly got to that. We smashed our first ever milestone, and it's kept growing ever since.
So I didn't realize quite how young the company was when I submitted my first card with you, which was at the end of January this year. But you've hit the nail on the head. I think I was a bit wary, and there were no other companies doing what you do. But as soon as I messaged you on, I think it was Instagram, I first saw you. I messaged you on Instagram. I got a reply back that day. I think you guys had put up some videos of yourselves speaking about the company and how to go about submitting. And I think you could just tell there was a genuine feel for the industry and a genuine passion for what was going on. And from that moment on, I was sold. So again, thank you for what you're doing. It's been a great help to me. And the first card I got back was an incredible 9.5 quad graded Shiana. Our listeners will know what that means. And
I won't forget that, because I think that you were the first one that sent me a Flesh and Blood card.
Well, that was going to be my next question. How did you hear about it? No, how did you hear about it? Tell us.
From you. Hey. It was an interesting submission. It was, I'll be honest, what the hell is this? Yeah. What the hell have I been sent? Which, by the way, is one of the best parts of this job is opening and seeing these incredible cards that people send. And I was very naive; I didn't know what Flesh and Blood was, and and receiving the card from you, obviously, had to do a bit of research and find out what I was dealing with. And it really clicked that this was something big and special, just simply by learning about the pull rates. Learning about the value. It can't be denied. The value of some of these cards is ridiculous in a good way.
In a very short space of time. Yeah.
In an incredibly short space of time. Yeah, and it spurred. I wouldn't say instantly, because we're still quite a small company. Sorry, we are still a very small company, but we were very naive. So I was kind of just working on the day to day. But then I think I contacted you, I think, a few months after, saying I've just bought a booster pack, and I was kind of asking you questions about what do I need, or what does this mean, or
what's worth keeping and what's not. Yeah,
exactly. So it was definitely you were the first Flesh and Blood submitter. You haven't been the last, which is a testament to the popularity of the of the game. And I'm now collecting myself. I've only done the Arcane Rising set. I've been meaning to move on to Monarch, but to be honest, I'm probably going to wait until the Tales of Aria comes out and jump on that one.
Yeah, there have been some interesting tidbits of information released or releasing today from Legend Story Studios. So there's going to be a big announcement on their website about the upcoming set, Tales of Aria. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. And I know much of the community are just kept in suspense with what's coming, definitely. So it's great to hear that you're now sort of involved and invested in the game, and I'm so glad to hear that other people are submitting. I think the cards that the Legend Storage Studio are producing are incredibly they're just gorgeous to look at, and the artwork is fantastic, and as you say, the value obviously does take a boost if you get a well-graded card. But from your point of view, slightly removed from the sort of fanboy status within our community, maybe someone who collects multiple card games, like how do you see Flesh and Blood competing against the big three at the moment, the Pokemon, the Yu-Gi-Ohs, the Magic the Gatherings? Like, what do you see from your perspective?
I see I see that I'm going to start with the addictive nature of collecting Flesh and Blood. Very clever and a little bit annoying for a completionist is the size of the sets and the impracticality of being able to complete a master set for each of these things. But impractical for me, but there are people out there that I know are doing it, and that incurs more popular. It makes it a more popular item. It means that they're obviously making more money because people are going after collecting, and that more money for the business means better sets, better print quality, and all this sort of thing. And I will take a moment to say it's a very frustrating TCG for print quality. That's my only gripe. I pulled a Fabled card, and it's likely to get a 7 rather than at least a 9 that you'd hope. But that's my only gripe. But to answer your question, against the big three, it's hard to imagine something really competing. I mean, Dragon Ball Super is probably one of the more recent ones that's really taking a good crack at dethroning one of them. However, Flesh and Blood hasn't been around for very long, and look where it is now. I think if they keep creating quality sets and they keep that competitive gameplay going, and the artwork is phenomenal. I love the fact that we got first editions in the TCG again. That's one of my favorite things as well. I think it's possible that it would start edging towards a Magic the Gathering starts to contender. I don't see why not.
We've now got news that Mark Paul has been recruited as an artist for Flesh and Blood as well. One of the big Magic the Gathering artists has been involved in Tales of Aria artwork, which is incredible to hear. I just want to touch on something you mentioned in there, because I think most of our listeners who have been interested in grading the cards have noticed that there are some inconsistencies with the production of the cards, and as good as the artwork is and as good as the gameplay is, unfortunately the corners and the edges have taken a bit of a hit. Some of the centering on the cards is quite off. In your opinion, should we say, do you think this is just because it is a young game trying to find its place, that the printers maybe aren't paying as much attention to these print runs as they would do for one of the big three, or is it COVID related? Like, where do you think the fault might lie?
For my naivety, who are the printers? Are they one of the well-known ones?
Yeah, Cartamundi.
Right. Then, that shouldn't be. It should. I didn't know that, so I don't really know. They're churning out a lot of sets in such a short space of time, and maybe just the fact that they're trying to keep up with the demand, or maybe the quality control has slipped slightly. That's the only thing I can think of. If it was printers that I've never heard of, quite new, or quite maybe not around and not familiar with the trading card world, I'd say the fault would probably be there, and that would hopefully be something that would disappear once Flesh and Blood have the funds to maybe upgrade their printers. But I don't know. I think it just takes enough people in the community to start just kind of mentioning and putting on their social posts that they're not really happy with the print quality. They're happy with everything else. I think, for it to drive some change.
They've just announced actually that they've just started receiving boxes in the US and elsewhere. The print facility has been in Belgium up until this point, and now they've started using the Japanese location for Cotamandi and one other. So it's interesting to see maybe in the next couple of months how the print quality varies between printers. I know they have slightly different packaging methods and color styles, so it would be interesting to see how that does affect the cards moving forwards and how that affects the grading. I don't think I've seen in any population report for BGS a black label fab card as yet. I've seen a couple of 10s, but
I mean, a 10 is a phenomenal achievement from what I've seen, and I haven't opened many. I've opened a booster box and trying to bring myself to trying to stop myself from buying another one just to get that set. It's the only thing that's stopping me is the knowing that one extra booster box is still not gonna probably complete the set. I mean, I got the Fabled card, and that was a huge stroke of luck. I didn't get any legendaries, so I'm just like, I might get one in the next booster box, and that would just put me down a rabbit hole, which we'll see maybe. But yeah, I'm confident that they'll know about what's about the quality, and it could be worse. It could be like original Pokemon Japanese prints, which were always off-centered. Right. Those were the dark days. It was a whole booster box was ruined. Oh my goodness. And you'd know it by opening the pack from it. So it could be worse. But yeah, especially these days if you spend that much money and you get a dodgy box. But no, I think they'll sort it out. They'll have to be incredibly dumb to not know that there's something going on with the print quality, and they must be looking to address it. They may have already addressed it with Tales of Laria.
So just before we wrap up, John, tell us what's the next step for you guys at Black Label Grading. What have you got in the pipeline? What's on the horizon?
Oh, thank you for asking this. This is I've got quite a bit to talk about, which is good. So it's Beckett have obviously temporarily closed, with the exception of the premium service. So we're getting a few cards in, but obviously our volumes have gone right down. But we're not just sitting down and taking the free time. I mean, I've got a puppy, which is taking a lot of time, but we're still working behind the scenes, and what we're working on is it's kind of the whole operating and order placing are all of the updates that we churn out. We're building this entire system. It's a bespoke system dedicated to our needs, and just kind of, I won't get into too much detail, but some of the things that will do for our customers it kind of takes away the very manual aspect of booking an order with us, where you have to fill out a submission form, pack it with your card, send it to us. It's going to be more of a going to our website, placing your order, and then just shipping your cards with your name, and then the system knows exactly what you've ordered. So as soon as your cards arrive, it automates everything from letting you know when your cards have arrived, letting you know when we've processed them. And the nice thing as well, we get a lot of compliments about our updates, and that's never going to go away. That's the number one priority for Black Label Grading, is to keep up the comms and customer service. But what this system will do is it will provide an update just for you, rather than at the moment our update emails are for everybody, which includes whatever submission, whatever service, it all comes in one email. A little bit hard to track. People forget what they submitted, which 5 months ago that happens. So that's the biggest thing that we're working on at the moment. We are every day kind of working with we're not every day, sorry, every week or so we're in discussions with Beckett, getting updates and always trying to improve the way we work with them and our relationship with them. We've done we've recorded an interview with Beckett last week. We're just finalizing the video. It will probably be out. The YouTube video that we've done is probably be out by the time this goes live, so you can be able to find that on our YouTube page. But that was amazing. They answered every question we threw at them, and they were very honest. I say they. It was a guy called Charles from Beckett. He's one of the he's like one of the senior salespeople over there, and he was very forthcoming in telling us everything that's going on, including stuff like turnaround times and how they're getting through the backlog. So that's really exciting to watch. If you haven't seen it, I'd recommend going to take a look. And we're very early days, but we one pipe dream for us is to open a European-based office, because we have a lot of interest from European customers, and it's not easy to submit to us from Europe. Certainly now,
especially with the customs, Brexit. Have you
exactly? It's a lot of. Although we haven't had any problems with it so far, it's a lot of ambiguity, which we could do without. We'd much rather our customers be able to submit to one location in Europe, and that would be, I mean, the headquarters will still be in the UK, so that will just work as a satellite office, collecting, processing, and then sending us to the UK for final work. But that's I'm going to be honest, we're a long way from there. But we are. It is
right? It's good to be focused on the future.
Exactly, and it will help. So we've got lots going on. We've also got the stands and stuff. That's going quite well.
They're nice little presentation stands for your graded products.
That was a good bit. That was a good project to work on. If anything, it's just a nice way for us to present the cards that we get back. Absolutely. But enough people were really interested in them that we went for it. But other than that, and maybe a website refresh in a while. I don't want to say anything too soon, but these are all things that we're just, Vicky and I are talking about all the time. But
what I would say is, as I said at the beginning, you guys provide a fantastic service, and you do it with a smile on your face, and you talk with your customers and communicate clearly and transparently. The update emails are great, gives you an idea of where things are going, and I've got nothing but good things to tell the community about the experience I've had with you, and the people that I've recommended send you cards I've had with you. So I just want to say thank you for what you do, and I hope that people listening will consider, when Beckett opens up submissions again, getting cards into you to get graded, because Flesh and Blood graded cards through Beckett they look fantastic. And it's a great piece of history to have a first edition card sitting on your mantelpiece. So, thank you very much, John.
That's all right. And just a little insight. So I think Beckett are closed, and this will become. They talk about this in the video that I mentioned earlier. But it is likely that Express, what we call Diamond, will be opening within a couple of weeks.
Oh, really? Awesome.
Hopefully. So that's really exciting. I think the others, the cheaper services, will still be a few months off. But to be honest, I think Express was that nice little
the in between.
It's in between. It's still very expensive per card, but not too far that these valuable cards would it makes sense. So hopefully, if Beckett stay true to their word, hopefully a few weeks.
That's amazing to hear. Thank you for the insider knowledge. And everyone should go and check out that video on YouTube for Black Label grading, and just keep abreast of what's going on at Beckett. That's fantastic. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much for having me. It's been fun.
It's been fun. Thank you. And look forward to speaking to you soon, John. Thank you.
So the next segment of the podcast is going to be sit down chat with Tripp. We've invited Dyson, Jake, and Adam to be interviewed by Tripp, and he's also going to be chatting with myself and Simon. We've all got a particular hero that we've been playing, and we're going to break down our thoughts on how they fit in with the meta. The audio quality is slightly different, but we hope you enjoy it nonetheless.
Right, Adam, welcome to Push the Point. How are you doing?
Oh, is this heaven? I feel like I've been here before.
We totally haven't had recording issues at all, and you totally haven't. Anyway, doesn't worry about it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your place in the Flesh and Blood community?
Okay, so I am Adam. You find me on the Discord. It's King Adam. I basically am the entire centre of the universe of Flesh and Blood. As David Dyson can attest to, I am also the world's greatest player, even if I lose regularly to him. Yeah,
If it
so
sounds like I'm laughing less at these jokes, it's totally not because I just heard them like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm a broken record. So I run a shop, Kingdom Gaming. We do loads of events online in the shop. The shop was literally built on the back of Flesh and Blood, so I'm pretty open about all that. And yeah, I mod on the Discord and the Facebook, set those groups up, and then kind of work with so many great people of making them great places for people to be. So yeah, that's
Amazing.
me.
So we've got people on today to talk about what heroes they're playing for the Road to National season. So do you want to talk about what hero you've picked up, what hero you've been playing recently, and why you decided to go with that hero?
Yeah, so I'm playing Levia, and no, so I am off meta. I'm playing Dash. I love Dash. She was the hero that when I picked up the game back in ages ago with Hamish and Mikey, that was the hero I wanted to play. So now we're in CC season, I can confidently play her.
And it's a hero that, was the top tier, right? In the last season of Classic Constructed, Dash was top tier hero, was winning tournaments and stuff. And people seem to have almost like migrated away from Dash, and she's had a massive drop off in terms of people playing her. Do you feel like you know why that reason is, or do you disagree with people moving away from Dash?
I really don't. I think that people have moved away from her because of new hotness. We had a whole new set come out since Classic Constructed were there. One thing that I actually do think is it's hard to get hold of some of her key cards for some people as well. So people look away from her. She wasn't popular in Blitz, so there are a lot of people who didn't invest in her financially when they were playing Blitz. So could be many a reason, but I don't think people should be forgetting about Dash. I think she's really, really good.
And you play it in a more aggressive style, maybe than the old control Dash. Is that what you're taking to the table as a more aggressive build, but with other options available to you?
Yeah, basically. So the main build is gun game with the boost. You're looking to try and do 3 to 5 attacks a turn, and you can solidly do that. And then you've got the sideboard modal thing to go against some of the more aggressive style decks, so you can play a slower game.
And are there any heroes that you're kind of, I don't know, I guess because you're playing an off meta, and I think that's fair to say you're playing an off meta hero. Is it more that people are not expecting what you're putting down at the table? Are you finding you're getting advantage out of that?
Yeah, so when we were up in Derby on the weekend at Boards and Swords, almost everyone I sat down against said they did not have a sideboard plan for Dash, which does give an advantage because people aren't considering exactly what they need to put in against her. They've not thought about it, so they're likely sideboarding suboptimally. But obviously, we do have a really strong core of players in the UK, so you come up against them, they're going to know what they're doing. But yeah, against the majority of heroes, I feel really comfortable with the way she plays, the way she carries herself. I think Katsu is my main concern because Katsu does what Dash does, but cheaper and easier.
And it is, Katsu does seem like a deck that is getting more and more popular. And do you think it just does what Dash does better, or are there advantages to be had from Dash that Katsu does not have access to?
Yeah, I think Dash is very clean with the way she plays. Like almost everything is on the board. Like it's an honest game you're playing. Whereas yeah, Katsu definitely has more tricks, and as I say, has more access to things that are cheaper on the whole. So the amount of zero cost cards with higher strength that Katsu has versus the fact that all you've got is 0 to 60 in Dash is pretty uneven. But I guess for me, I'm a glutton for punishment, and I want. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it in style. You know, take Dash, make the top 4, and then everyone has to bow to me. Yeah,
Well, that is a strategy that I want to see. I'm not looking forward to coming up against him. Well, thank you for coming, Adam. Thank you for being on the podcast. We really appreciate having you on.
Love you.
It's been a pleasure to talk to you for the first time. Right, so next up, we're going to be talking to another person from the Flesh and Blood UK community, which is Jake, also known as Regular Raccoon on the UK Discord, possibly one of the better names on the UK Discord. Jake, how are you doing? Do you want to introduce yourself to the audience and tell us about how you got into Flesh and Blood and all that jazz?
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me on. So I got into Flesh and Blood earlier this year. Brought into it by a certain drug pusher known as Jason, who's brought everyone into the game in the local area, handing out cards, and the first hit is free sort of thing. But yeah, got into it earlier this year.
I've seen him and just giving them away. People don't know what they're getting into. It's like, oh yeah, I love
exactly.
these pretty little cards. Oh, I'll give it a go. Hook for line.
Get in my van. Here's 2 booster packs. That sort of thing.
So you've been playing for a little while. What hero are you working towards for the road to national season?
Yeah, for me it's Prism. Sort of for 2 reasons. The first is there's a bit of a shortage in terms of Crucible of War product in the UK.
Yeah.
So trying to find a deck which is competitive and is interesting to play and is fun to play as well, which doesn't use a whole bunch of Crucible of War cards is a bit tricky. If I wasn't going to play Prism, I'd probably want to play something like Katsu or maybe even Dash, to be honest. But those require a little bit more Crucible of War cards, whereas Prism's quite Monarch centric.
Yeah, and it feels like that's one of the reasons why a lot of people get into it, because I think it's fair to say a lot of people in the UK have got into Flesh and Blood because of the Monarch release. It's probably one of the biggest releases for the game. Well, it's not been that many, but it's been one of the biggest releases game for the UK. So it's a hero that people are drawn to. And is there anything about the hero that, apart from that access to cards, that attracted you to that hero, that style of play, for example? Was there something that you found really interesting about the hero that you wanted to get into?
Yeah, so I'm traditionally a control player. Now, Flesh and Blood doesn't really have a lot of control decks in it. You can't really play control in the same way as you might in another game. There are no, cancel effects which allow you to cancel other cards. Although you can use Snag as kind of a cancel for attack reactions, I guess. But to some extent, you can't really play that kind of control style that you can from other games. Prism has a few elements of control, though. You can see a Bravo activate their dominate ability, and then you can play an Arclight Sentinel in response. You can see Chain banish, 6 blood deck cards, and then you can play an Arclight Sentinel in response before they banish their 7th. You can do things like that, which are a bit more control-ish. So it's got those kinds of elements of control style for me.
Yeah, it seems like a really interesting hero, and I know they're quite popular. I believe the hero from the recent Bash tournament, the person that won the recent Bash tournament was playing Prism as well. So clearly a hero that has some legs as well. Are there any heroes that you find that Prism has a difficult matchup against?
Yeah, there are a couple actually. So Katsu, I think, is about a 50-50 matchup, which is actually quite good if you consider Katsu to be the best deck in the game at the minute, which I think is probably correct. Chain is actually a fairly decent matchup for Prism, or at least the Prism deck I'm running. But only if the Chain players run in the strategy of banish all of the Seeds of Agony, not banish, pitch all of the Seeds of Agony into the late game, and then play them all out, and then follow up with a Riftbind. That kind of strategy, I think Prism can cancel really easily. But I do know, actually, speak of the devil, Jason is running a more mid-range Chain deck, and he just absolutely destroys my Prism deck. There's nothing I can do about it. Yeah. So I think there might be some legs there for Chain to beat Prism.
Yeah, I've been having chats with that Jason follow about this Chain deck I've been hearing about. That's taking it in a different direction. And I think we're talking about Prism now, but I think UK is still working out Chain. And I think we're still working out Prism as well. It feels like a deck that has a lot of permutations, a lot of different directions you can take it. And has that been an enjoyable experience to kind of sit down with a deck that's not been worked out yet?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I'm not the greatest player in the world. So for me, a lot of my matches, I hope to win during the deck building, because I'm not going to have as much time to run games over and over and over and over and over. But I will have the odd 15, 20 minutes here to tinker around with decks, go and shamelessly net deck things from people. So being able to tinker with a new deck is kind of an advantage into a sort of a meta which hasn't fully worked out how all of the decks work yet. And Prism's got multiple different ways to play her. You can go the aggro herald style, you can go the aura style, or you can go for a sort of mid-range, in-between kind of deck, which sideboards out whatever you need to sideboard out, depending on the matchup, which is what I like. It's kind of interesting to play.
Yeah, thanks, man. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. It's been great to have you on, and hope to have you back soon.
Yeah, cheers, folks.
Hamish, welcome to Push the Point. How's it going?
I'm so happy to be on. I've been dying to get on this podcast for ages. I feel sorry for any chump that has to go and edit this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it must be pretty difficult, but it's all worth it in the end to have such a quality product to release to our audience, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't wait. Please comment. Pray, right. Everybody, give some love to the editor.
Right, Hamish, everyone knows who you are, so let's just get stuck into what hero are you playing for Road to Nationals?
Well, I'm thinking of playing Bolton. I think Bolton is a bit of a good off choice in this meta at the minute, considering that everybody loves to play Prism, Chain, Katsu, and Bravo at the minute. So yeah, I think we all know that I was playing Bolton from a couple of episodes before.
Well, a lot of people listen for the first time. So
I'm playing Bolton. Not so that stupid saber deck.
No sabers. Lightsaber only allowed.
Nah, saber deck's trash, mate.
So why did you decide to? Well, I think we talked about this, but you put a lot of work into this deck. You did a lot of testing. What is it that originally got you to start playing Bolton before you knew you could make it work?
Because I lost a Ranger with Chain. That's why. And then I tilted so hard, thinking, Christ, I lost a bloody Ranger. But I don't know, when the spoiler season came up, I was sitting there thinking, I'm going to play a Shadow Hero, and there was something about when Bolton was released, and I saw Luminary Ascension, right? And that card was just like, oh my god, that card is absolute bloody filth, man. There is so much stuff going on there. And then as the cards kind of expanded, I just couldn't help but just keep looking at it and keeping an eye on it. And then I was like making more decks for Bolton than I was pretty much for anyone else. And I was just liking what I was seeing. And then, I just kept testing away at it. And then I ended up with what I've got now, which is I play the Raiden Bolton deck, which I think is the most consistent way to play Bolton.
And you took it to the tournament at the weekend, and you just didn't quite reach the top 8. Are you going to stick with Bolton? Are you thinking about changing it up, or do you think you can break into that top 8? And do you think if you could break it into that top 8, you can take it to some high success with this deck?
Okay, so I think I will probably continue to keep testing and trying out different ways with Bolton. Bolton, to me, feels like it's got a fairly decent matchup against predominantly a lot of heroes. It only has, which is very unfortunate, one terrible matchup, which is against Chain. It really does not like the fact that Chain can... especially when he gets his good banishes right, that he can just seriously punish Bolton more than most, because Bolton is a hero that needs to keep his hand. And I know this is probably a thing that you'll probably hear from most heroes. If any hero can keep their hand, they're decent, right? But Bolton is kind of an aggro play style, right? So he's competing for the aggro position, which is something that Chain and Katsu are also competing for. And I personally do think that Bolton is not the front runner of that position. It can make Katsu have a hard time. It's a really interesting dance between Katsu and Bolton. But with Chain, it's awful. And the reason it's so much more awful against Bolton is because Chain gets so much more brutal when you've got cards and soul, and there's only one hero that likes to run around with cards and soul, and that's Prism, which is like, I can just pummel you with heralds. And Bolton's like, no. I literally play the game of I'm going to take flight, and then I play Raiden, and I give Raiden go again just so I don't have any cards and soul, so he doesn't have his active triggers. I don't actually do anything afterwards. I just literally go, no. There's no soul. So it's such a disadvantage. It's not what Bolton wants to do, so that's why it's a bit tricky. Other than that, Bolton absolutely kicks the crap out of Prism. So I know that you probably just had a quick chat with Jake and he never brought it up, but Bolton on clean sheet, mate. Prism doesn't stand a chance against Bolton.
Well, there you hear it.
So if you've got a Prism meta, play Bolton Raiden deck, mate. You'll be laughing.
Which is a possibility. The most high-profile CC event we've had in the UK so far. Prism player won it, so there's probably going to be a few more Prism players out there. And as we were hearing from Jake, it's a deck that if you have just got into the game from Monarch, you can pretty much get everything you need, everything you need from just Monarch, which makes it a very accessible hero. So you might be onto something there. You could really sweep up the.
I'll say this, is that if you think that Bolton needs anything from the Welcome to Wraith and Crucible of War, you really, really, really don't. Bolton seriously just taps into so much of his own power through the Monarch set. There are some key generic cards like Command and Conquer and potentially even some snags that are crew, but I think everyone wants snag from crew, right? Yeah. But but Bolton's serious main power comes through the fact that it's all from his own Monarch cards, because everything in there just talks about charging, talks about doing extra stuff when you're charging, and nothing from Welcome to Wraith or Crucible of War from the Dorinthia set. All of her cards, it doesn't really do that great for a Raiden deck. You could probably do all right with if you want to do a Saber deck with Warrior's Valor and Spores of War to actually make the Sabres do something other than this crappy combo that everybody thinks is great. But it's seriously, if you just want to go and really pilot Bolton, you can do so much with his common cards and the Raiden swords. So I highly recommend give it a go and have fun watching people scratch their heads when they don't want to block with an attack action card, because you're going to give them a go again. It's so much fun.
Hamish, it's been a pleasure. We should maybe we should do a podcast together or something.
I think so. Maybe we could probably get Simon. He's got a good mustache.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
See you in a bit.
Simon, welcome to Push the Point. How are you doing?
Good, Dan. Thanks very much for having me today.
Thank you very much for joining me for this little interview that we're going to be doing. So we've been chatting with everyone about which heroes that they're taking to Road to National. Now, I feel like your hero you've been with for quite a long time. So tell me about your relationship with Katsu the Wanderer.
She's great. So I was drawn to Ninja very early on because I pulled a Mask of Momentum in one of my first boxes. Not a first edition cold foil, that would be ridiculous. And I started playing some Katsu, and then Blitz season started. I started playing some Ira, and I tried to fool myself into thinking I could play something new with Chain, and I've had a bit of a go with Chain and Prism because they're shiny and new. But every time I just come back to Katsu, and I play it better than I can play the others, so I stick with what I'm good at.
Which is a great strategy. So there's another version of we should say you play a very aggressive version of Katsu. I think that's pretty fair to say. And there's another version of Katsu out there that we've been seeing, which is this control Katsu variant. Is it just because you had so much experience with the aggressive version of Katsu that you decided to stick with that, or were you tempted to try this control version out?
Yeah, good question. I like the fact with Katsu that you can go wide, and I love seeing a game state where you're like 7 attacks deep and the opponent's blocked with their whole hand and they have no options left. the control version for me is just not as exciting, and therefore I don't feel like I commit to it as well, and I get tempted to just take some damage to the face and throw out a hand when the deck's not built to do that. So I have tried it. It's not as much for me. I just try and stick to taking damage to the face and then giving more back.
And I think that's an interesting thing with decks. And if you're coming to Flesh and Blood for the first time, would you say just go for the best deck that's out there, or would you say actually maybe it's better to find a deck that really clicks with you and like a style of play that you really enjoy?
Yeah, I think you're going to do better with a deck that you enjoy playing. And I think you can try as much as you want to play net decks and take the best decks coming from nationals in other countries or even in our own country. But if you don't understand the mechanics behind why they're doing that, and that usually comes from enjoying the play style, then I just don't think you're going to click with it quite as well, and therefore you're not probably going to get the same results.
Yeah, because you mentioned that you did look at Chain as a possibility, and Chain was kind of like the new hotness. Was there anything particular about Chain that put you off it in the end, or was it just that you liked Katsu so much?
Yeah, so Chain does go just as wide as Katsu often, and I just think that the slight difference is that with Chain you've got everything on the board in front of you, and it's just about how you can use your resources to best play what's there. With Katsu, I think it's a little bit deeper, and you have to know what's in your deck, what's left to find, what the best card in this situation that you might want to play or draw, or there's a lot more hidden information to both you and your opponent. I think with Chain, there aren't. Maybe that's unfair. Aggro is the only way to go. You can't change your game style mid-game because you're going to be succumbing to blood debt. At least with Katsu, there are slight variations in how you can play the deck from turn to turn, and I think your overall strategy is quite different.
And you always have the Kodachis with Katsu, that hit and then something else that we saw.
So annoying, aren't they?
It is, and it's that tool that you can fall back on to close out a game if you do get to the late game with an aggro Katsu. And do you think that access to the Kodachis is what takes Katsu possibly over something like Chain, which is really on a clock, while with Katsu you can switch to a different style of play?
It's interesting because, I mean, the Kodachis become more relevant the lower life you've got, and yet we don't see much Katsu in Blitz, which starts at a much lower life total. So I think in CC it does become relevant when the opponent gets sort of below 5 or below 10 life points, but actually until then it's about crafting hands and building up for big turns and just trying to get them down to that point as quickly as possible. So I think there is still a clock with Katsu, especially against some of the more defensive decks like Prism or Bravo or Dash Control. Yeah, so I don't think they're as relevant in CC, but it is nice to have consistent single points of damage every turn.
Great. Thank you very much, Simon. Thank you for talking about Katsu. And I see you next time. I will.
You will see me next time. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Simon. All the best.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello.
Oh, what? I start.
So, Tripp, welcome to Push the Point.
I mean, we should just jump in because they're definitely going to include that, even if I tell them to cut it out. So, hello, Dyson. How is it going?
It's good. It's good. Thanks for having me back on. It's been a while.
That's all right. Yeah, it's been a while since we last recorded together, hasn't it, Dyson?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, no, to be fair, Hamish interviewed me during one of the skirmish seasons. Oh, wait, that was for the other podcast, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Whoops. Awkward. Okay, now it's definitely getting cut out. So
Yeah, covered for you. Right, let's restart.
Right, let's talk about Flesh and Blood. So, what hero are you taking to Road to National?
Currently, I'm taking Bravo because he is just a consistent threat. He doesn't have the level of variance that other powerful decks have in the meta currently. You can just rely on blocking out and then swinging the hammer for 4. But he also threatens these aggressive decks that want to have their 4 and 5 card hands with these must block attacks.
Yeah.
Because if you're playing Katsu and someone comes in with the Crippling Crush, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because you either lose half your hand or you lose the majority of your hand. And I just think he's a good choice into the meta of people wanting to keep 5-card hands and come back at you harder than you come back at them.
And there's been a little bit of talk about this idea of there's a couple of heroes in Flesh and Blood that that have give detrimental effects to the other heroes, in particular Azalea and Bravo. And is that what you're kind of playing towards those big turns where you can make the opponent, force the opponent to do something where they're damned if they do it and damned if they don't, really? Like,
I think Bravo's game plan it has probably the biggest pivot turns in the game, because you can play this really slow, turtley block with 3 cards, swing with hammer, block with 3 cards, swing with hammer to preserve your life total. And when you draw these god hands of like Crippling Crush, Pummel, and even just Command and Conquer and Pummel, you can just force your opponent to play in a style that their deck's not built to do. And from there, you can sort of take control of the game in a more commanding way. I think Azalea would be a very good hero in the current meta if her cards weren't underpowered for that reason. Unfortunately, Azalea's just design seems to be just slightly short of the mark. So
and you seem like someone. Well, we obviously know each other from the UK Discord, and you see like someone that likes to try out a lot of different decks and likes to experiment. Have you come to Bravo through a lot of experimentation, or is it just something that you think this consistent hero can do well at tournaments?
Yeah, I think I've tried out. I think post Monarch, I've at least played a few games with every single adult hero, and when it comes down to it, I think Bravo suits my style personally, and I just think he certainly for the start of the meta. If I'm three Rotonats deep and I haven't got a sniff of the top 8 yet, then I might be praying to RN Jesus with Chain for the last couple of events potentially. But for the time being, I'm going to stick with Bravo and just stick at it, play safe, play smart, and try and just eke out advantage and win that way.
Are there any heroes that you find you come up against and you think that Bravo has a bad matchup against, or that it's just a difficult game for you?
Prism, though it looks on the surface to be a matchup that Bravo should be favoured, because Bravo has all these attack actions that pop their phantasmal attacks, is actually a really tough matchup. They just have some really punishing turns, and Luminaris is just an absolutely bonkers card. Also, library is just horrid. If you're playing Bravo and they drop a library, you're running like maybe 4-5 yellows in your deck, and if they get a library down against you, it's going to be a super tough match from that point onwards. Apart from that, I think Control Dash is probably the next worst matchup. But that's kind of been forced out of the meta. Aggro Dash is a bit more easy to deal with because it's just straight damage. It's just the Control Dash where they're running all the defense reactions and just pistoling you to death is probably the worst matchup for Bravo, but that's kind of been taken out of the meta. Other than that, I think Bravo's got a pretty even matchup against everyone else, and then it just comes down to player skill and variance on the match.
Yeah, and if you're putting the time in and you're putting the testing in, it feels like a good hero. If you're putting the effort in, the consistency will pay dividends in the long term.
Yeah, I think it is a hero that it rewards you putting the time into it.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much, Dyson. Thank you for coming on.
No problem. It's lovely being here.
Yeah, nice to have you. See you later.
Bye.
Say hello, everyone, at the same time, please.
Hello,
everyone.
Oh my god, what a clusterfuck. Who's hot and who's not?
Right, Hamish, pull yourself together and direct this segment. Or maybe Simon
This is
should
your
do it.
stupid segment.
This is your segment.
Right, so
Tripp.
this is the what's hot, what's not segment. We're going to go through all the heroes from Flesh and Blood, and everyone has to say whether they think they are hot or whether they're not.
We can
Make
argue
sense?
afterwards.
We argue afterwards.
Well, what are we talking about when we say hot? Like, wow, Bravo's hot. Or
Not, yeah. So
Also,
don't know.
like young Bravo isn't. Old Bravo definitely is
no,
hot.
We're talking on a CC perspective because
Yeah,
CC's
but
the real.
if you
meta,
have a
right?
general feeling within your bones that a hero is hot and it's not based on any evidence, that hero is hot to you. So feel free to throw it out there. And
That's fair.
Yeah, Simon
we'll
said
call that out.
Katsu's not hot because he didn't want people to
And
play
we all
it.
knew he was lying, but
Yeah,
He's not
exactly.
hot. I don't know what you're talking about.
Come,
He's
run
not.
her up, mate. Come on, get a grip.
Simon,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
feel like,
First
Simon,
loser.
I feel like I want you to go through the heroes as the sensible, grounded person within this podcast. I want you to
I'm
call
gonna
the
put you
names
on the
out,
spot.
and we will declare whether they're hot or not.
All right, is this how it's going to go down? You're going to
Yeah.
just throw me.
I'm
under
throwing
the
you
bus?
literally under the
Absolutely.
bus.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. If we're going to do this, we're going to have to do it in a structured way. So I'm going to start with the new guys. Give me Prism.
Hot.
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 I'm against the meta here, and against the fact that you're all disgusting old men. Not.
Not
No,
hot.
she's hot, man.
No, I just wanted to make the disgusting old men joke. She's hot.
So Adam, do you actually think she's not hot? Or do you think she's actually hot?
It's a bonkers good deck.
Yeah, all right. So we all agree that Prism is a hot deck.
Yeah. Well, it just won the most recent event, so we've got no
she
choice.
is.
Can't not be hot.
No, she's nuts, man. The versatility and the deck building she's got, it's too good.
All right, sticking on the light side, Bolton. What are we thinking?
Not hot.
Not.
Not.
Oh,
Very
fuck
not.
you, man! All of you.
You didn't answer, Si.
Didn't make top
Si,
eight,
what
did
do you
it?
think?
Yeah.
Come
not,
on.
not hot. Not hot.
Oh,
Was that,
why?
was that 5 knots and 1 hot?
Why?
Yeah.
Why do you think she's not? Why do you think?
I think you have to do too much work to make it happen. Like you even said,
Yeah.
you need a fistful of cards. Nearly any hero that needs a fistful of cards is too worrisome.
All right. Fair enough.
I just don't think he does anything that other decks don't do better.
Well,
Same.
I do think that he does make people block awkward.
Yeah, and Katsu doesn't run like any non-attack actions, so that is, you're happy with that.
Yeah, thanks, Tripp. I love your support.
If we're saying Bolton's not hot, but Hamish got 9th place with Bolton, are we actually saying that Hamish is hot?
Yeah, that
Hamish
is
is
true.
definitely hot.
Hamish is
mate.
always hot. Perpetually.
Hamish
we should change our
Hamish is so tepid that he came in 9th place when strength of schedule 100% should have given him
me
it.
out a strength of schedule, Adam.
I
That's
chatted
the
up the
truth,
guys
man.
at
You
I
sat
chatted up the
there.
guys at Boards and Swords.
I did sit there and think, Christ, if I was actually in the 8th place, I would have played up against Dyson. I would have lost anyway.
We got a lot of heroes to get through.
all right,
Let's
all
move
right.
on to the
I
next
told
one.
you this. I told you this was a clusterfuck.
I'm going for consensus here, Levia.
Not
Not
hot.
The
Shit.
least hot.
Yeah.
That literally doesn't do anything that anyone else doesn't do better.
So Hamish, do you want to know why you got knocked out into 9th place by Adam? Because his first 2 rounds were against Levia decks.
Oh my god! As if he just chudded his way through this. How is this? Why have we got this dash meta on? He only got on because he beat 2 Levia. As if.
We're going to go... Right, that was a consensus, not because Levia doesn't
No,
do it for
Levia is
anyone.
shit. Move on.
Chain.
Hot.
Just
Not.
so hot.
No, why
Not.
not?
I think
So why,
Right.
Simon, you said he's not hot. Why?
I think people have learnt how to beat it or are learning how to beat him, and I think people are moving to Prism and Bravo to do that.
So how do you learn to beat someone that is basically based on his banish? That he can beat any hero if his banishes are better than anything. So
Okay, bit too long, but with Bravo you can go longer and defend it out, and with Prism you can just annoy the hell out of him with auras and smash him in the face harder than he can.
that's fair. Right.
Anyway, moving on. Arcane Rising section. Dash.
Not
Dash is
hot.
so hot.
not
Not
hot.
hot anymore.
Oh, that's because you're all half people.
I'm
No,
going to say
no.
hot.
she's
I'm going
hot.
to say hot. Yeah.
I don't
Why
think
are you-
you.
why
I
are
don't-
you-
Simon just wants to get more people on Dash.
Why are you saying hot, Hamish?
Well, because Adam's the center of the universe.
It's true.
Don't stroke his ego anymore.
No, I think I think people haven't. I don't think Dash people have what has really trialed what Dash is offering yet. I think she got right off too soon.
I agree.
The current meta is including one deck that Dash has a guaranteed like win against, pretty much, and another one which is such a huge win rate, and then 2 decks that were in the meta back when Dash was the meta. So what's changed?
I don't know. I think she's hot. I mean, why do you guys think she isn't hot? Go on, Jake. You haven't said much.
I reckon she could be hot if the meta settles a certain way. Like Chain's able to race her pretty easily, and I think Prism can race her pretty easily as well. But if the meta settled more towards Prism and Bravo and away from Chain, I reckon Dash would be pretty decent.
Interestingly enough, I think that go on. Yeah, we'll go on.
Moving on. Azalea.
Oh, she's shit.
Not hot.
She's not hot, is she?
No, to be fair, I feel really weird because the last episode we did actually have a chat, basically going through what about his Azalea, like.
And then you all said not hot immediately after that interview.
Yeah. Well, no, because we did. Just to be clear, right? No one actually heard the interview. We just did the what's hot and what's not. The only person that did it was me. So everyone said not hot. And then we all heard it when I did the final edit. So I think that Azalea overall is not hot, but I think that this chap who played Azalea understands it. I think you got to understand the hero and
Tales
do
of
really
Aria,
well with
yo.
it.
I don't
Kind of like how everyone
Azalea.
said Bolton isn't hot, but I
don't
like it.
think
We're
you
gonna
can
move
base
on,
hot or
'cause-
not on individual performances.
Yeah,
on
Exactly.
decks.
Well, we all said
Dyson.
not, so go on then.
Dyson
Anyway.
understands what's hot, what's not.
All right, Dyson, you can
Viscerai.
run this stupid podcast.
Give me Viscerai.
Oh, not hot.
Not hot.
Not hot.
Viscerai's not hot. I wish
Not
hot.
Viscerai was hot.
Oh
But
no,
he's not
Viscerai's hot, man. Come on, Jason.
Why are you
showed
being
off
so
how-
contrary? Why are you being so
Yeah.
contrary, Hamish? It's not.
Dyson,
We're
he
not
always does this.
Have you
you
listened to
don't
a
need to
podcast?
make it. You don't need to make discussion points at this point. You don't need to create content.
We're moving on because everyone agrees Viscerai is currently
Yeah,
not
he's
hot.
not. He's not hot.
Kano.
I admit. Not
Kano's hot.
Not
Kano's
hot.
hot.
Kano's
No,
not
not
hot.
Kano's
Prism
hot.
just blows him out the water.
Yeah, his matchup against Prism is so shit. It's unwinnable.
It's awful. It's unwinnable. I think.
It's literally unwinnable.
I still say Kano's hot.
Yeah.
Why?
Look at that hair.
himself.
Why?
I mean, if you can
Look
dodge
at
all
that
the
hair.
prisms, then
Yeah,
you
the
blow
guy
up the
himself,
meta.
yeah.
Yeah, that's just that's not real. So
No,
go on, Adam. Why do you
It's
think
not
Kano's hot?
real.
So the Kano was always in CC about being the absolute artistry of building your deck and learning to play it. We, as absolute homunculuses, cannot play that deck to such a high level. It's not just like in Blitz where you just draw 4 cards and then go, okay, well, I'll pitch this. And I go, okay, well, I've got access to this ridiculous turn that I can slam someone for 20. You need to craft the bottom of your deck way better than people were talking about Chain for. And I think that if you can play that deck to a high level, you will win games. A lot of games.
Yes, but you
people
auto
can't play
lose
that.
to Prism, which
You
is a
don't auto
high
lose to
percentage
it.
of the meta.
You don't auto lose to anyone if you're that good at the game. With that good at it.
I'm sorry, Adam. You're talking shit.
Again,
Kano's crap.
you're basing it on individual people being really good at a deck. That's not what hot or not isn't.
Look.
You're talking about the character in general, and Kano is dog shit.
Hey,
Jake, you
if
haven't
you said
much.
pizza
Come on,
was
you're
hot
a
or
judge.
not,
You're a judge.
Look. If Kano's hot, I haven't seen it. I don't know where it is. I don't know where this player's hiding. Who's like,
cuts right
galaxy
through.
braining Kano.
You're basically
right?
saying if Kano is hot, he's like a Saturday night chips. It's literally on the
Yeah,
floor
mate.
and it's always cold.
Chips with curry sauce. That's sort
Yeah,
of hot.
it's thrown.
Moving swiftly on. Reinar.
I'm going to say not hot, but
Not hot.
because I think
hot.
but it has the potential. It's
think
definitely
hot.
out of favor right now, though.
Yeah, he's not hot in this current meta. Reinhardt is a metacal. Straight up, he's good,
I think
but
it
he
could
has
come
to
back,
deal
though.
with a particular type of meta.
The issue with Reinhardt is he doesn't function well into 5-card hand meta because you intimidate their entire hand, they take a load of damage, they go, great, I have my entire hand to come back at you with.
they were going to do
Good
that
job.
anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So,
you intimidated 3 of my cards. Good job I wasn't blocking at all.
you just made my blocking decision much easier.
I'm going to say Reinar's hot in a way that, like, when you order a delivered, like, McDonald's, it has the potential to be hot. It was hot once, but when it actually gets to you, it's pretty rank.
I think Reinar deals with a meta that needs to have a bit more setup. So when it was the controlled dash and when people were playing a bit more of a slower game, Reinar actually deals with that really well, because someone that wants to try and block out a lot of turns, like, you know, control Katsu and even control dash, Reinar is like, well, screw your hand, I'm going to hit you through it really hard because you wanted to block and you're not. So if we're going to go to a meta like that, Reinar's good, but right now, no.
Right, Bravo.
Oh, no,
hot. So hot.
Yeah, Bravo is never not hot.
I think Bravo's not hot.
I think I
I don't think
did I say
Bravo's hot.
lukewarm last time? Or Bravo?
Yeah,
I think I'm sticking with lukewarm.
Oh, what? Just shut up. Come on, man. We can't see.
Everyone gets one lukewarm.
Is it the McDonald's analogy?
Okay, Reiner would have been my lukewarm.
Yeah, I lukewarm Bravo.
I think Bravo, just because it is one of the 4 meta decks, doesn't automatically make it hot.
I don't think he's never not hot. I think he's
lukewarm.
He is as good. Like, he doesn't seem to care what's going on. You know, he controls what he needs to control, and he pummels what he needs to pummel. You know,
I think he's a rollover hot dog.
Katsu.
Super hot.
Yeah, Katsu's hot.
Supernova.
Katsu's super hot.
Possibly the hottest.
He's definitely not hot. He's
He's
ice
the
cold.
hot new hero.
Right, come on, Simon.
Just because you hate Katsu mirrors.
He is an ice cold killer. That's what he is.
Yeah.
He is. He's my man. The OG. Right. His arch nemesis when she's around and playing well, Dorinthia.
She's not
She's
hot.
dead in the water.
No, she's not hot.
Just floating. She's a corpse.
She's hot.
No,
She's not.
No, she loses to Chain and Prism.
Yeah, she
She's
just doesn't
hot.
seem to put enough
Bravo.
pressure.
Oh, Adam, you're saying hot. Why? You've just been contrary.
He's being contrary again.
He's making content.
Are you basically
do you know
doing what
what?
I did with Viscerai?
No, do you know what? I think, again, people were just sleeping on it on the whole. Like,
Nah, come on, man.
No, when we went to that tournament the other day.
Shin went 0-4 an event.
Let him speak. Let him speak.
No,
so when we went to that tournament the other day, there was one person playing Dorinthia, and I think they were a bit of a newer player. I think they were a bit of a newer player, and I do think that Dorinthia needs a bit of work, but I don't think you can write off one of the best decks in the game just because nobody is playing it at the moment.
Shin's put a lot. Shin's put a load of effort into Dorinthia, and he's just
Shin
not
is
able
playing,
to win in the meta.
It's not good.
Shin is playing Katsu badly at the moment, so we can't take it.
No, he took Dory to an event at the weekend and went like 0-3, 0-4 or something with her.
Probably still got blitz brain.
How are you guys all saying that Dory is not hot, but the Bravo is like really hot meta deck? They both have similar problems, right? They both suck into
not
Prism.
even close. Not even close. Not even close. The difference is that Dorinthia...
Just because you just won a game against Bravo like an hour before it's recorded.
No, Dorinthia's strategy, she's kind of like in the same boat as Reinar. Like, Dorinthia's strategy is not fit. It's not gelling with what the really consistent meta decks currently is going through. I'm not writing her off overall. I'm just saying over this August month before Tales of Aria comes out, I don't think she positions well. She doesn't position well at all.
I will just end it that with saying that one of the things I've said about a lot of heroes and how powerful they are is if they have their engine on the board, and Dorinthia's engine is on the board.
Right.
Well, there you have it, everyone.
That's our current. No. That's our current 12 heroes. I think the interesting thing now is that Road to National season is going to be in the Monarch meta, and then Nationals may well be in the Tales of Aria meta.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, that's going to shake shit up.
Yeah, so what's hot, what's not in September is going to be amazing.
Does that mean you're not doing a what's hot, what's not next time? Do you mean
it's every week
because we're
every single week.
We're going to base this on the wins, and I mean, does everyone here agree that basically Prism, Katsu, Chain, and Bravo are going to be the 4 heroes to look out for.
The expected meta, I would say Bravo
so.
less so. I think you're going to see less Bravos because it's not flashy.
Bravo's a really cheap deck to build in comparison to the others.
I would be surprised if there wasn't one of each of those in the top 8s at Road to Nationals.
Well, at least anyone making the top 4 to get into to qualify for Road to Nationals, I can see either of those 4 heroes being.
I wouldn't be like shocked or excited if I heard that those 4 heroes had hit the top 4. Whereas if I heard like Levia or Dash or Azalea or Kano, I'd be like, oh god, what's their list? Let's have a look at that. Whereas those 4 that we just read out, I'd be like,
but you read off Viserai. Would you be surprised if Viserai got top 4?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be stunned.
Okay. Would you be surprised if Bolton got top 4?
Yeah, because you're the only one playing it.
Yeah, all right.
I would be surprised if
someone
else other than you got top 4 with him at an event.
So I want to say a big thanks to our guests today on the podcast. All of you give us a shout out. Like, just say thanks. What the fuck am I saying?
Yeah, give us.
Just thanks me. Thank me.
Thank you. You better thank us.
Thanks for inviting us on.
Thanks for having you on, guys. Thanks for joining us. And the edit on this is going to be an absolute nightmare.
This is when we're happy that we've done separate audio streams.
And now we
literally
clap
cut
on the
out
way
Adam's
out.
audio.
No, we don't clap on the way out.
Everybody
Thanks,
clap.
Tyson. Thanks, Jake. Thanks, Adam.
Thanks everyone for being on.
Bye, love you.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.